Hey, welcome to the Tony Scott Internet Show. What's going on? Hope everything's going your way. If not, pray on it. That's what I've done. I've relied on prayer. I ran from prayer for, I don't know how long, almost 50 years of my life, and got into prayer and can't get enough of it. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody or not, but man, prayer will sustain you. For some reason, it brings a sort of peace to me. When I talk to God, it's like I talk to God and like I'm talking to you right now. You know, I've said to God, man, I don't know what your plan is, and I know you do things at your own pace, but we need to pick it up a little bit, man. I've done that. I mean, I have. I don't mean it with disrespect. I think He understands that, but I mean, I talked to God, man. I'm telling you, if you haven't lately, give it a shot. There's no formal thing about praying, is what I've learned in talking to many people. Just pray. Just pray, man. So students yesterday in the Ferguson-Florissant School District and around St. Louis County walked out their way of protesting the grand jury's decision not to indict Darren Wilson, who's the cop who shot Michael Brown back in August, the 18-year-old. McClure North, McClure South, Berkeley, Jennings, Hazelwood, even in Clayton High School, also students protested. Teachers joined some students. You know what, to me, it was a great teachable moment. It was a great moment on how our civil process works. You know, some parents were okay with it. Some parents were not happy because they thought the school district should have done a better job of keeping the parents in the loop. And I get that. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, when it comes to our children, we want to know everything that goes on in relation to school. Every move they make that's not a routine, we want to know about. I get that completely. So those complaints, I think, are justified. But yesterday was a great teaching moment to teach students how this works. And to be able to get these students to actually talk about how they feel about what's going on. Let them vent. I thought it was fantastic that it went on. And it went on not only in this area, it went on around the country. And I was very happy, at least in the St. Louis area, of how it turned out. The city of Ferguson are investigating whether Michael Brown's stepfather, Louis Head, intended to start a riot when he shouted to a crowd, "Burn this bitch down," multiple times right after the announcement was made to say, you know, that the grand jury was not going to indict Darren Wilson. Ferguson Mayor James Knowles said the police department is talking with people who witnessed Louis Head making his remarks. It was on TV. What's to witness? They want to talk to Louis Head about his intent. And you know what? I'm not Louis Head. I don't know Mr. Head. I don't know what his mind was. And I just know if you could feel the emotion. He felt bad. His wife was beside him and she was falling apart because of this announcement. She was crying. She was mourning. She was hurt. She was mad. And any man who loves his wife, when his wife is in that condition, he lashes out. Did he mean to start a riot? Absolutely not. No. Let it go. Let it go. You gonna put that on him? Seriously? No, man. Yeah, and they know. They know. Ferguson Mayor James Knowles says that U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder made up his mind about the Ferguson Police Department before even arriving in Ferguson and without speaking to them. Well, you know what? Everybody has made up their mind about the Ferguson Police Department and about you, Mayor Knowles. We've all made up our minds about that you guys are inept, incompetent, and should be out of office. The politicians there, the police department, it needs to be seriously considered whether they should be disbanded and taken over by St. Louis County. Not much better, but everybody's going to be watching. And the Ferguson Police Department has been so racist over the years. Obviously, not every police officer in the Ferguson Police Department, but has had that tinge of racism forever, that it may be time for it to come down like it happened in Jennings, another suburb of St. Louis, if you're not familiar with the St. Louis area. To me, that's something that actually needs to happen. I mean, I believe that there's a problem there. And it starts with Mayor Knowles, and it goes down to Tom Jackson, and it filters down to everybody. And by the way, where are all the politicians? Where are they? Where are they? Where have they been the last week or so? Haven't really heard that much from any of the local politicians. Have you noticed that? Haven't heard a word. Now, if you remember, the Rams on Sunday, 5 of their players came out with the hands up, don't shoot. What is it? The gesture, and it was in solidarity with the protesters who want change. Of course, the police department took it the wrong way. They demanded that they be disciplined or suspended. The NFL was like, hell no, find you some business. Now it comes out that the St. Louis, somebody's just saying that the Rams apologized. And the Rams were like, ain't nobody apologize, man. You know, Chief John Belmer of the St. Louis County Police Department, did he say, he sent an email to his staff saying the Rams chief operating officer called him Monday to apologize. I received a very nice call this morning from Mr. Kevin Demoff of the St. Louis Rams, who wanted to take the opportunity to apologize to our department on behalf of the Rams for the hands-up gesture that some players took to the field yesterday. But the Rams says that never happened. It never happened. The Rams issued a statement saying the organization had positive discussions on Monday with John Belmer and other police officials, during which we expressed our respect for their concerns surrounding what happened. The Rams say they did not apologize. In fact, the Rams tweeted the definition of apology. Actually, the police tweeted the definition of apology. But the Rams say you can tweet all you want. We didn't apologize. The Rams did not apologize to the St. Louis Police Department. Man, they'll do anything to win, won't they? They will do any damn thing to win. That is crazy. Man, they have to have their foot on the neck of everybody who's involved with this movement. Makes it kind of scary, does it not? I mean, really? I read this article online by Cheryl Dorsey, is a retired LAPD sergeant speaker and police expert on lots of issues. And she says that the Ferguson district attorney made a huge mistake. Because, well, let me just read you this part right here. On September 16, 2014, White Ferguson Deputy District Attorney Kathy Alizada provided the grand jury with an outdated statute on Missouri's use of force doctrine. Was it a coincidence that this document was given to the grand jury just prior to Officer Wilson's testimony? According to Deputy District Attorney Alizada's instruction to the grand jury, quote, Section 563.456 says law enforcement officers' use of force in making an arrest. And it is the law on what is permissible and when in making an arrest by a police officer. In other words, Darren Wilson can shoot a fleeing suspect. The portion of Section 563.456 that was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court says this: the use of such physical force as he or she reasonable believes is immediately necessary to effect the arrest or prevent the escape from custody. In other words, you can't shoot somebody who's fleeing. You're not allowed to shoot them down as they run from you. But apparently the DDA Alizada handed the grand jury a 1979 Missouri law, even though it had been ruled unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1985. Do you think she made an honest mistake? Come on, man. On November 21st, which was about 5 days later, the Deputy District Attorney corrected the record by informing the grand jury that she had given them the wrong statute previously regarding use of force. That right there should have been declared some sort of mistrial, and they should have selected a new grand jury to do this over again. The Deputy District Attorney Alizada seemingly left the grand jury dazed and confused by the different documents just as they began their deliberation process on Darren Wilson's indictment. I mean, this thing has stunk to high hell from the very beginning. From the very beginning, Bob McCullough, the St. Louis County District Attorney, prosecutor, decided that he was going to just bombard the grand jury with every piece of evidence. Wasn't really going to explain anything. He was going to dole it out, and they can figure it out. And then the DDA here, according to this article, gave them Missouri law from 1979 that had been ruled unconstitutional 29 years ago. That just reeks, man. That just reeks. That is horrible. I'm talking about malpractice to the highest level. when it comes to this. I mean, there are several people who were they were in on it, man. They were in on it, molding the situation to fit a non-indictment for Darren Wilson. In my opinion, that's exactly what happened. Speaking of police officers and shooting of African-American males, the one that happened in Cleveland, Tamir Rice, who was 12 years old. The officers were identified, Timothy Loman and Frank Garmbeck. According to police, Tamir was told to raise his hands 3 times, and then he reached into his waistband for what appeared to be a firearm. Turns out it was an airsoft gun, which shoots small plastic pellets. It did not have an orange safety indicator at the end of the barrel. Tim Loman's father, the officer's father, told Cleveland.com his son told him, "I was right there and he went for the gun. I had no choice." The young man was shot on a Saturday. He died the next day. This was... Every situation is different. This wasn't the same thing as what happened to Michael Brown or Von Darren Myers or anything like that. You know, I saw the videotape. You know, the boy been standing. He was in the park. He had what appeared to be a gun, you know, and the guy who called it in told a dispatcher, he's got a gun, but I think it's a fake gun. But y'all should get somebody over here. So the dispatcher, dispatches, some police officers to the park to investigate it. But the dispatcher never said that the gun this suspect has, it may be a fake gun. He never said that. The dispatcher never told the officers that. They left that little nugget out, which was key, I think. But when the officers pulled up, I mean, they pulled up and they shot the hell out of him. I mean, they just blew him away. And it looks like, I don't think it was, I don't know. Could it have been racial? I don't think it was, if this makes any sense. Was it as racial as the Michael Brown thing? Absolutely not. But there are some things in there. I mean, this is the one where they thought he was 20 years old. He was like 12. You know, but this is an epidemic. Police officers declaring war on black males is an epidemic, and apparently it doesn't matter how old the black male is, whether he's 18, whether he's 12, it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter at all. You know, for people, to me, if you're having a conversation with someone who is pro Darren Wilson, and their argument is that Michael Brown was the thug, you should end your conversation right there, because you know what? They don't want to listen to reason. They have no empathy. They have no clue that that there's something different than what's in their world. You know, in their world, the police officers are great people. And there's no way this could have happened in their world. I think that we have to understand that, you know, when you're dealing with someone who makes that argument, it's pretty pointless to keep it going because they're not even going to listen. Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice, former Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice, is taking full responsibility for what happened. He wants a second chance. He's hoping for a second chance. He says, "Me and my wife had one bad night." A lot of people say, why can't we give Ray Rice the benefit of the doubt? He appeared to be a model citizen when he played for the Baltimore Ravens. He was involved in a lot of charitable events, a lot of things like that. Why can he not get the benefit of the doubt? It's a fair question. And I think maybe people would be more willing to... The word lying and deceiving is all over this situation, whether it was Ray Rice, whether it was the Baltimore Ravens, or whether it was Commissioner Roger Goodell. There's a lot of lying going on in there, and all three entities are guilty of it because if they're not guilty of it, they get shrapnel because they're in the situation where lies have been told. So if you lie and you lie, well, hell, you must be lying too. That's how we do things here, right? Is it wrong? Absolutely, it's wrong. Ray Rice would like to be signed this weekend by a team. Can't see that happen. I'd be shocked. You know, if he got reinstated, it doesn't mean he has to play this year. And maybe he needs to just take off the rest of the year and work on his image and work on rehabilitating his image. things like that. Maybe that's something he needs to work on and not even worry about playing right now. He said in an interview he's horribly sorry for everything that I put my family through. We just want our lives back. Football was one thing. I realized the amount of people we've affected, the amount of families we've affected, that domestic violence is a real issue in society. Now, we tend to think that people who commit certain acts, domestic violence, they have no credibility at all. There's no way they can be rehabilitated. Well, I think it's dangerous to make a blanket statement like that, but I also realize that, a lot of us are speaking from emotion because a lot of us know people who are victims of domestic violence. A lot of us are victims of domestic violence, and we don't want to hear it. Talk to the hand, right? We don't want to hear it. If he hit her once, he hit her, he's going to hit her again. He said that's the only time he ever hit her. Nobody believes it. I don't believe it. I'll admit that. You don't hit somebody like that, and that's the first time you hit them. I mean, that wasn't like a slap. That was a punch. He knocked her the hell out. But what about Janae Rice? What about what she says? She says that's the first time, the only time he's ever hit her. She doesn't feel like a victim. She wishes people will just let them be. Well, it doesn't really work that way anymore, does it? I mean, it just doesn't. Darnell Dockett is a professional football player. Darnell Dockett, I believe, plays for the Arizona Cardinals. Yeah, he's the defensive end. And Darnell Dockett has been known to post things on social media. Anything he wants. Jokes, racist jokes. He won't apologize for it. People get mad. He doesn't really give a damn. Well, recently, he reposted a questionable photo of Malia Obama, that's the oldest Obama daughter, on Instagram. Now, that picture had been out there for a while. And in it, he tags it OMGGG as a comment. And he says, where was it that he said? Barack Obama's daughter's ass fat as hell. Now, I don't think he's actually the one who reposted. I mean, he might have reposted it, but he reposted it. And usually when you repost something, you're co-signing it to some degree. We tend, a lot of us, we're just sharing information. But when something's foul, you don't share something that's foul. We don't get that on social media, though. We want to be in the know. We want to be hip, cool, and with it. We want to be in the circle of famous people on Twitter. Everybody follows us, and we follow everybody, and we're in the game. So we repost it. Darnell Dockett is an idiot to repost a photo of Malia Obama in some tight jeans and then posting Barack Obama's daughter ass fat as hell. Like I said, he's not the one who wrote the post, but when he reposted it, it kind of, when you're Darnell Dockett, when you play in the NFL, it is a privilege, not a right. And you have to conduct yourself accordingly. And these young players, they don't get that. Why don't they get that? I don't know how they were brought up. How were they brought up? I don't know. Was there a male role model in their life? I don't know. But it seems like the younger players today, they're nothing like the players from back in the day. They show no respect. Now, don't get me wrong. There were players back in the day who were troublemakers too. I'm not stupid. But there seems to be like tons of them these days who are irresponsible on every level. Being a father, being a husband, being a boyfriend, being a football player, being a man. They just missed the whole thing, don't they? They just kind of missed the whole thing. That is so stupid. Why? What happened? The football, their union, the NFL Players Association, there should be some kind of like mandatory, when they come into the league, there should be some mandatory classes that you have to take. You have to take these classes. Otherwise, you don't get your money. I mean, they have to do something because the Players Association, the union, needs to save these players from themselves. Do they not? I mean, they really do. That's just, to me, that's a no-brainer. That these players that come into the league can't get out of their own way. The average NFL career, as far as a player goes, is somewhere between 3 and 4 years. Average. I mean, you get these players who've been around all these years, like London Fletcher, who recently retired. Tom Brady's been in the, Peyton Manning's been but that's above average. There are far more players whose career lasts much less than that. And then after that, they got nothing. They got nothing. And the NFLPA owes it to their players to ready them, because the career is not a long career. I don't know. Maybe I'm not telling them nothing. I'm not saying nothing that the NFLPA doesn't already know. You don't get to be as powerful as the NFLPA is and not know something and not know what I'm saying right now. They know. Whether they can get it done is another thing. Whether they want to get it done is something completely different. But to me, it's like, wow, they're really, these NFL players, pro athletes, really stupid. The behavior, their attitude, the world revolves around them. And you almost wonder, like, maybe they have to have that mentality to be able to put it down on the field like they do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But boy, some of them, just imagine about the things we've never heard about. The stuff we hear about versus the stuff we don't hear about. Let's go back like 20, 25 years. I bet our jaws would drop, man. I bet it'd be crazy. Because these guys, they can have 2, 3, 4, 5 women at one time if they want. That's their life. And they're not even good looking, right? Some of them are just, let's call it like it is. Some of them are just kind of funny looking. I'm not going to say they're ugly, but some of them look kind of funny. I mean, it is what it is. But man, thirst is real. The thirst is real. You hear what I'm saying? The thirst is real. All right, I'm going to leave it right here. Appreciate you so much. Don't forget our event on Friday. Tony Scott Live is going to be in Ferguson at Kathy's Kitchen from 6 to 8 p.m. And I hope you can come by. I'm looking forward to seeing you again if we haven't reconnected in a while, or if we've never met. I'd love for you to come by and, just take some selfies. Let's have some fun and let's connect. All right. I don't mean that on a romantic. I mean, I'm married, so we're not going to connect on that level, but we're connected as friends. I love friends. You don't want me. Trust me. You don't want me, right? Thanks so much for listening, for sharing, for downloading, for reposting the link. It means everything. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.